Hi, everybody, and welcome to Lesson 2 with me, Dr. Chris. I hope you're well. Last week was the first in our series of festive lessons where we're going to improve our piano playing by learning a few festive favourites along the way. And last week we started Jingle Bells and we were just working out the right hand melody. And we did quite a bit. We recapped timing and we also had a look at how to read music on the stave. So we're going to do a bit more of that today. But what I thought we'd do first of all is just recap where we are so far. So what I've got here is the music that I left you with last lesson. And as you can see, it's music just for the right hand. So if you're ready, we're going to start by playing what we have here. If you haven't finished this, don't worry. If you haven't had a chance to practice it already, don't worry, because hopefully what I'm going to show you now will be useful. If you've managed to finish it, that's brilliant. There is, of course, more to play. So get your pianos and the keyboard switched on. And of course, we begin with the third finger on E. Now, how do we know it's third finger? Well, of course, we've got a finger number here that says finger 3 on E. And of course, finger 3 on E is there on my piano. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the music from left to right. And when we get to the end of the music here, you'll see the page will change and we'll have another page to play. So good luck. And here we go. We're going to play it fairly slowly to start with. Okay, finger 3 on E. And here we go. Ready? 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, so there we go. That's the right hand of Jingle Bells. And I hope that made sense. Of course, although these are going out live as lessons, you can afterwards rewind and have a go. So hopefully you've now had a chance to look at how the right hand is written and you've managed to work out a few notes on the stave on the G clef. But of course, when I played you the piece last week, I played it with both hands. So our mission today is to look at how the left hand is written. Now, before I go into the details, have a look at what the music would look like. So this is what Jingle Bells for both hands would look like. And I'll play it to you. I'll play you the first 4 bars, just so as you know what to aim for. So here we go with both hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hopefully by the end of today, you'll be able to play that as well. Now, the thing about the left hand is, particularly with piano music, of course, the left hand ladder is entirely different to the right hand ladder, which is why it's a really good idea not to try and learn both at the same time. Last week, we looked at the G clef. This week, we're going to look at the left hand, which uses the F clef. Now, last week I said, oh, the G clef is a strange symbol on this ladder, and the symbol points to a particular thing. And that's exactly the same with the left hand. Here we have the F clef, here it is, and it is also a cryptic symbol because it's pointing to the second line down. Here we are on our stave. Look at that line. Can you see we've got that big sort of circular bit there of the clef, and then these 2 little dots either side. They really are pointing to this second line. Now that second line is important. It's the F line. And I've written a musical note here as well to show you that this note, because the line is going through it, that is the note F. And specifically, it's F below middle C. So what I want you to do, please, is with your left hand, put your second finger, it's first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Your second finger, I'd like you to put on F, like that. So put your second finger on F, okay? That note there. F can be found quite easily by looking at the 3 black keys, and then it's the white key to the left of those. There it is. Have you got that? Play it if you found it. Okay, good. So that is F, and it's the F that's written here on our music. Now that's one of the left-hand signpost notes. Okay, there is one more to look at as well that I want you to do. So we know F. On the F line, there it is. Now, here is another note here on the right-hand side. The note on the right-hand side, just above the red dot here, is C, but it's not middle C. It's one, what we call octave lower. Here's middle C. We don't want that one yet. We want this C. And what I'd like you to do, please, is using your left hand, I want you to play this C here, what I call low C, with your fifth finger, your little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pop your little finger on C. Okay. Now this note here is the one on the right hand side of our screen. So here's a little thing for you. Can you please play F first of all with your finger 2, and then play C with finger 5. Okay. And they are probably the most important 2 notes that you'll look at today. There are signpost notes. And whatever you do, try and just remember those. F on the F line and low C. Look at it in the second space there. Okay. Right, let's fill in the gaps. So you can see here the first note, we have F. And what I'd like you to do, watch first, we're going to play F, E, D, and C. F, E, D, C. And look at my fingers. It's F on 2, E on 3, D on 4, and C on 5. Okay? Okay, if you've got those, and remember it's F and C that you really need to try and store in the memory bank, I've got some exercises for you. Okay, here you go. All right, so let's try and work these through together. So we've got 4 notes there to find. Well, the first one, that's our signpost note, isn't it? That's F. Okay, and then the next one, that's our other signpost note, that's C. Now this one, we're going to have to work out. Notice how it's only 1 step higher than C. There's C, and we're going to go up 1 step to D. There we go. And then, of course, back to C. So the answer to that question is F, C, D, C. Okay, all right, here's another one for you. Okay, so here we have our second signpost note. That was C, wasn't it? This one, any ideas? Look where it is. It's on that F line. It's got to be F. And here, well, we're back to C. And then, can you see this one here is 1 step higher than C, so it's going to be D. So, going back to the beginning, the answer was C, F, C, D. Okay, one more. Let's try this one. Right, okay, well, first one, again, second line down, on that F line, that's got to be F. Now this one, that's 1 step higher, isn't it? This one, So it's got to be one step higher. We're going to play G back to F, and this one here is our second signpost, wasn't it? That was C. So the answer to that one from the beginning again was F, G, F, C. Okay, so you may have found some of those notes really easy to find. Others may have been a little bit more complicated. You may have had to work them out a little bit as we were going, which is absolutely fine. And of course, again, you can rewind and try those. But I hope that exercise has shown you that really, if you can remember where F on the F line is and where the C, the low C is on the bass clef, on the F clef, then you can work out the others. So going back to Jingle Bells, and on screen now we have what I played you earlier. So what we're going to do is we're going to work through the left hand. Now I've deliberately put the right hand in here over the top. To start with, we're not going to play it hands together because the great thing about practicing is with the piano, you can play one hand at a time. So with the right hand, we're going to leave that aside. We're just going to play the left hand. And I wonder if you can work out what these two notes are here at the beginning. Here is the F clef. And hopefully now what we've just done makes this a little clearer. Look, we've got two notes here in the first bar. Okay, so what's the top note here, for example? Well, that one I'd say is, of course, one step higher than the F line. The F line points to this F here. And if we're going one step higher, it's got to be, there we are, there's our top note. And can you see the bottom note here? Yeah, that's low C, isn't it, in the second space? So we will play both those notes together like this. They're the notes we need for our first bar. And how many beats do we have to hold them down for? Remember last week we talked about grandfather notes, how they last ta, ah, ah, ah. That's right, so 4 beats, okay? Okay, so we would do this for our first bar in the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. How about the second bar? Well, okay, no prizes there. It's the same, isn't it? And the third bar as well. So the first 3 bars in Jingle Bells in the left hand will go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those notes there are really supporting notes. By themselves, they don't sound that interesting. But of course, when you put with both hands together, it's going to make a lot more sense. Now, for the next bar here, for the last bar, we've got something a little different. I wonder if you can work out with me what these notes are. So first of all, let's think about the rhythm. Okay, each of these notes are worth how many beats? Yeah, they're worth 1 beat each. So if we were to just clap the rhythm of that particular bar here, again, it's really straightforward, isn't it? It would just simply be ta, 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 ta. So that's the rhythm. Let's take a look at the notes. Well, here again, we have one of our signpost notes, and it's, of course, low C. Also notice here, just to confirm of what finger we should be using, we've got a number 5. So that refers to finger 5 on C. So here we are, finger 5 on C. And notice how the first 3 notes here are going up by step. So we will go C, up a step, up a step, and then we drop down to C again here. Have a listen to that again. Okay, why don't you try that with me? Okay, so ready? 5th finger on C. We're going to start here. Ready? 1, 2, ready, and C, D, One more time. Ready? From C, here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. And that's it. And that's really how I work through the left hand. Now, the thing about the left hand is that certainly for some of the music that we're looking at together, you probably already found out the left hand isn't quite as interesting as the right hand because the right hand has a melody. Well, what can you do about that? Because maybe just to sit and play this, after a while can be a bit monotonous. Well, I have an idea. And if you're lucky enough to have a digital piano or a keyboard like this, and one that's got a song recorder in it, like this one has, you can make your practice a bit more interesting. I'm going to record the right hand of Jingle Bells. Okay, so I'm going to go into my recorder. I'm going to press record, and then all I need to do here is just play. Okay, that will do. And now what I can do is I can play that back, but I can also at the same time play my left hand, which is really great because it means I hear the right hand as well as me playing the left hand. So this would be great for maybe if I think I know the right hand really well and I can record it. And I've also practiced the left hand a bit and I'm, ready for the next step. So I'm going to play back what I've just recorded now and also show you how it's possible to play the left hand at the same time. Like this. There we are. So there we go. That's really good. And of course, using the song recorder can make your practice a lot more enjoyable because you're actually hearing the whole piece. And it really does motivate you to keep going so that you can eventually play both hands at the same time. So that's the first part of the left hand of Jingle Bells. And of course, there is more. So let's take a very quick look at what comes next. Here's the next page. And we don't have time, unfortunately, to go through all of this, but I will just very briefly walk you through what happens in the left hand for the next part. So notice a few things here. First of all, we have finger numbers. We have a 4, we have a 1, and we have a 5. And where we've got two notes together, like here, where they're placed over the top of each other, that means obviously play the notes at the same time. We've got a finger 4 and a finger 2, like that. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to walk you through how we would go from the very beginning of this line. We're going to start here, and the first thing we need to do is work out what note this is. Well, again, think about your F line. We're going to go 2 steps down. There's the space and there's the line. So from F goes into the space and then we go to the line. Okay, so that's going to be a D. So the notes that we need are these. We need a D and then a G and then a C. C in the next bar here. Like that. So D and then G and then C. Okay, now I've just played the first couple of bars. What about the rhythm in that little excerpt? Well, of course, here we have notes that are 2 beats long. So they would be ta, ah, ta, ah. And then we have another grandfather note here. So we would have ta, ah, ah, ah. So first of all, let's just do the rhythm together, okay? We're going to start off by doing the rhythm of the first 2 bars, these two, okay? So with me, let's just clap this rhythm, and we're going to stop at the end of this bar here, okay? Just the first 2 bars. Are you ready? Here we go, just clapping. 1, 2, ready, go. Ta, ah, ta, ah, ta, ah, ah, ah. Good. Okay, so that's the rhythm. That's half of the work done. Here is the notes that we need for the left hand. We need a D, we need a G, and then we need a C. Okay, we've worked those out just a minute ago. Let's try and put the pitch to the rhythm, and we end up with this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. Okay, so we're looking at the next couple of bars now. And if you have a look at this bar here, right, well, first of all, we've got a symbol here we need to explain. Now, it looks like a hashtag. It isn't a hashtag. This particular musical symbol predates hashtags at least by, well, a few hundred years, if not more. This symbol is called a sharp sign, and it's placed to the left of a note. And in this case, it affects the top note. Now, what a sharp does is it raises a note by a half step on my piano. So instead of it being F, I'm going to go up to the black key, which is called F sharp here. So for this bar, I don't play F, I play F sharp. Okay, and it's F sharp with finger 2. And as well as that, you can see that I've got a lower note to play as well. Any ideas what that lower note is? It's how many steps below F? 1, 2. So you're looking for a note which is 2 steps below F. Okay, well the answer is it's D. Okay, so we've got F sharp and D to play together in that bar, like this. And you can see there that they are both 4-beat notes, grandfather notes. Okay, so it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's keep going into the next bar. And again, we have another symbol, which is kind of related to what we were talking about. It's not a sharp sign this time, it's a natural sign. And the natural sign basically undoes any sharp sign that came before it in this case. Okay, so that means don't play F sharp this time, play the normal natural white key F. So in this bar here, I would play G, F natural, E, and D. So just a quick recap, starting not from the beginning, but actually from here where we had D and F sharp. Okay, I would play this. I would play 1, 2, 3, 4, and then G, F, E, D. So I hope that's made sense. I'm now going to play the whole of the left hand that you see there on the screen. And it sounds like this. Starting from the beginning here with the 4th finger on D. It would go 1, 2, 4, ta, 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 like that. And that's how we would play the next part. So we've looked in detail at the first 8 bars of Jingle Bells. And just as I did in the previous lesson, what I'm going to do after I've finished is you'll see on screen the whole of Jingle Bells, the right hand and the left hand. The right hand you would already recognize because we've covered that in the previous lesson. And you'll also hopefully recognize a lot of the left hand because we've just gone through it together. As you probably realize, Jingle Bells is quite a repetitive piece. So once you've played the first 8 bars, actually what comes next in the second half is not exact, but it's very, very similar as well. So there's the last 8 bars of Jingle Bells. And as I've just pointed out, it is very repetitive. So it shouldn't be too much of a challenge. Good luck with that. Right, so where do we head to next? Well, I've got a little rhythmic challenge to finish off our second lesson today. And what I want you to do is take a look at this. Now, there are a few things to explain here. It looks like a fairly basic piece of music written on just one note. Well, actually, I'd just like you to clap this. Don't worry about playing it on the piano. But before we begin, one of the things that you may notice is that at the beginning here, we have two numbers. We have 3/4. Now, you may remember last week I said that this was a time signature, and it's the top number here that tells us how many beats in the bar that there are. This one is different to Jingle Bells because this one only has 3 beats in a bar. But everything else there, I think you've covered. Can you remember what these lines here were called? Well, they were called bar lines, and their purpose is to divide the music up into equal numbers of beats. You can see here in the second bar we have 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat, so 3 beats. And what about here? Well, it looks like we have more notes than the 3. But if you remember, when you see these notes here, these are quavers, these are half beats. And 2 of these actually add up to 1 count. So think back what we were doing in lesson 1. And what I'd like you to do is to have a go now at clapping that rhythm. And I'll set you a pulse to start with. So the pulse will be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, are you ready? Okay, I'll count you in. Ready, steady, go. Okay, well, I hope you got that. This is the answer. 1, 2, 3. Ta, tay, 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 ta, ta, ta. Okay? If that wasn't quite right, go back to lesson 1. We did a lot of rhythm last week just to brush up your skills on that. Now, what I'm going to do is change this slightly. And I'm now going to add something at the beginning. Right. Okay, so as you can see, I've made that rhythm a little bit longer. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going to say, well, he says that each bar should have the same number of beats, but I can see here at the beginning, there isn't. There's only 1 beat here. Well, in actual fact, you're absolutely right. And there is one exception to this rule. And I thought I'd share it with you today because it's going to affect what we do in next week's lesson. Some pieces of music don't begin on the first beat of the bar. Now, the first beat of every bar is always thought of as being the strongest beat, the first beat. So in this case, if it was 3 in a bar, we'd have a sort of feeling of an emphasis on the first beat of the bar, a little bit like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, if you think about some music, that's fine because it begins on a strong beat. Think about Jingle Bells, for example, started off like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And you can hear there how the first beat of the bar is right. It's the strongest beat of the bar. But there are some pieces of music that just don't do that. For example, so you can probably work out there that with Happy Birthday to You, the music starts, but it starts on a weak beat. We get, and it wasn't the first note that I played that needed to be strong there. It was happy birthday. So birthday needed the emphasis, not happy. And that piece of music uses what's called an upbeat, where you start the music on a weaker beat. And that's exactly what you have here on screen now. So what I'd like you to do is try this rhythm. Now, what's important here is to say that when you're looking at this first note here, what you have to imagine is that the first couple of beats in this bar have actually been taken away. So to begin, what we would do here is we would count 1, 2, 3, and you start clapping this note here on beat 3. Okay, so have a quick look through. Nothing else has really changed except the very beginning. I'm going to show you what the addition of that first note does to the music. And this is how you clap it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. A little bit slower. Have a listen again. 1, 2, 3, 1, tay, 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 tay. Notice how I'm emphasizing the first beat of the bar. Can you try that with me? Here we go. We're going to count 1, 2, and then we're going to begin with this upbeat. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good. Great. So why have we done that? Well, as I said, it's actually an introduction into our next piece of music. And can you guess what it might be from just the rhythm? Have a listen again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. Well, if you're wondering, the answer is this. Yep, there we go. We wish you a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to showing you how to begin that in our next lesson. So for now, go back over Jingle Bells, have a look at the left hand and see what you can do with that. And next week, we'll start a new piece and also have a think about how we can put both hands together and finish off Jingle Bells. Good luck, and I'll see you in lesson 3.